one of the things we teach them is taming your tongue, right? So being aware of how you talk to yourself, right? Because what you say is what you become. So we give our clients these different little tidbits every single week just to be more mindful on it. It's just more than fitness and diet, right? But if you pay attention to how you talk to yourself, how you talk to other people, it's all energy at the end of the day.
Right, we're live. Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Calm Talks. Today we have an incredible guest that we're going to interview. This person has close to a decade of experience in digital marketing, but he made a bold decision to pivot his career and focus on his passion, on his purpose. Today, our guest focuses on empowering men and women to improve their physical and mental health with a holistic approach of strength training, yoga, breathwork, and meditation. He's a leader, a mentor, and my great friend, Raj Trivedi. How are you today, Raj?
I'm great, man. How are you guys doing?
Incredible.
Yeah, we're good. Good. We're excited to have you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited too.
I have to say, I do give you a great intro. Can you
One of the best.
I gotta say though, we gotta let you steal the thunder, right? You gotta tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Sure. I'm going to take you guys back to 1984. I kind of wanted to give you guys a little story of my background for you guys to really get to know who I am. So I want to take you guys back to memory lane back in 1984. That wasn't the year I was born. That was the year my parents came to this country from India. My parents came to this country to give themselves and their future kids a better life. They literally came into this country in 1984 barely with any money, and they also barely spoke English. They ended up working in factories in Bayonne and in New York City, and they struggled a lot, right? And the reason why I tell you guys this is because my parents, they're the reason why I am who I am today. They literally shaped me. My parents had an opportunity when everything was going downhill for them when they first came to this country. They had an opportunity to work at this convenience store coffee shop up in Sussex, New Jersey. That's kind of where I am right now. They worked at this coffee shop and convenience store for 7 years. And then in 1993, they ended up taking ownership of the convenience store and the entire building. And that's when everything changed for me and my family. My parents worked so hard every single day to put myself and my two sisters into private school. They literally gave me and my sisters the best education possible, something that they never had. And that really shaped who I am today. They literally lived the American dream, right? They worked hard to give themselves the best life, to give their kids the best life, and for me to be able to follow my dreams. So when I talk about who I am today, it's really shaped by my parents. They both had loving natures. They were kind-hearted. They were givers. They constantly gave to their friends and family everything that they had. They sacrificed a lot. They even took risks, right, to come to this country, similar to what you guys did. It takes a lot of courage to do what you guys did and what my parents did. And I kind of embody that kind of personality. Someone that takes courage, someone that follows their heart, follows their dreams, and continues to do good in this world.
I was just gonna say, Raj, yeah, I mean, absolutely incredible to have like that sort of inspiration for you to kind of hone in on, to kind of draw inspiration from and take that into your life. How much of that played a part as you transitioned from a digital marketer to being in the space that you're in today as a fitness wizard?
The transition was wild. You know, when I after the pandemic first started, right, in 2021, it was a year of working from home, right, and doing digital marketing. So I was a director at one of the top digital marketing agencies in New Jersey and even in the country. And Adil was working with me too. So he knows how it is over there. And it was a blessing, you know, working from a startup company to being one of the fastest growing companies in New Jersey, having multiple Inc. 5000 awards, becoming from an intern to a director. You would think that everything is great. And it was. But it got to a point where something was missing. In 2021, I was doing a lot of reflection and I was paying attention to my health. My health wasn't as well as I would like it to be. I noticed my weight was down. I was 120 pounds. I've always been skinny, but I was burnt out a bit and I wasn't really paying attention to my health and my wellness. And inside, I always knew I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to either be a mentor, coach, or a teacher. I was even thinking about going to college and being a professor in digital marketing, right? Because I had that background. But as I was working on my health and wellness in 2021, I started to gain weight and muscle, and I felt good about myself. So I ended up making a drastic decision by kind of going all in into this space, right? I had no background in the health and wellness space, but I just jumped in. I figured, you know what, if I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to go all in. And I got a lot of blessings from the CEO of the company, as well as other C-level executives. They respected that because that's how they started the digital marketing agency. And while I was in this space, I was interviewing a lot of people in our network, which I was truly blessed to. The first interview I ever did was with Mark Megna, who's one of the top trainers in Miami. He's a co-founder of a gym called Anatomy, which is one of the top gyms in Anatomy year after year. Everybody knows Anatomy if you're down there. The second interview I did was with a man called Jay Cardiello. And Jay Cardiello, I was so excited to get him because his background was amazing. He was 50 Cent's personal trainer for 15 years. He trained Jennifer Lopez. He trained Rami Malek for the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, which I love that movie. Right? I don't know if you guys are Queen fans.
Great movie. Yeah, Queen is one of the best bands ever.
Amazing, right? So when I found out this guy is the man behind all of this, I was so grateful to have that experience to interview him. And right after the interview we ended up having great rapport together. And he asked me, what am I looking to do? And I said, I'm looking to find a mentor in the space so I can be a successful coach. And then we were talking back and forth, and he had no digital background. All of his clients were in person. And my background was all in digital marketing, but I didn't have much background in the health and wellness space. So we ended up merging together forces and becoming business partners where we created a 12-week online coaching program that's all focused around behavioral fitness. That was back in 2021. And since then, we've been helping people all around the map to help them achieve the best life they can by becoming healthier, happier, and more confident in their own body. And to be honest, guys, it's been an amazing ride because everybody has a unique story. We all do. And being able to help people transform after 12 weeks, just seeing what was possible that they never believed, it makes everything worth it at the end of the day.
Obviously, Ant and I have been working together at Com Talks for over a year, and we were excited to have you as our first guest that we can interview. And we also obviously believe in partnerships. We've been doing this thing for a year. We believe there's strength in unity, strength in numbers. How important has your partnership been with Jay as you've been working with him as you got out of the digital marketing space?
It's extremely important. I think the reason why we come together well is because we have both differences in opinions and different mindsets when it comes to a lot of different things. I know when it comes to putting out content, he may have a perspective of doing motivation type of content specifically. And then I try to bring out that we should talk a little bit more about our clients' stories and the transformations. And then from working together, we try to figure out a nice balance, the type of content to put out, how we can work together with our current clients and our strengths. Because we both have differences, right? In regards to his background is in behavioral fitness, right? My background is in yoga and meditation and breath work. So we kind of join forces and bring out the best in each of our strengths to really help our clients achieve their goal at the end of the day. So a lot of it is compromising and just working together as a team because at the end of the day, we're all about our clients. That's the end game, to help our clients achieve what they've always wanted. All of our time and all of our attention is always to the client's success. And if we're always focused on that, we can come together with any differences that we have.
I just want to bring it back to, I do mention just how we've been working together ourselves. And the Com Talks was all about peace and progression. And I want to kind of bring that back to you. You've talked about a lot about progression, where you started, where your motivation comes from, and sort of how it shaped you. But I also want to hone in on the peace aspect. How does that make you feel? how do you deal with your day-to-day? I'm sure you have day-to-day trials and tribulations. How do you deal with that? How do you focus your life also around balancing the peace with the progression?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I love the mission behind what you guys do, right? I think having that balance between both is very important. So how do I deal with peace specifically? One of the things that I work on is I've always been a spiritual man. I've always been fascinated about spirituality and being in tune with myself, connecting with myself inward as well as with the higher power, whether it be God, source, whatever you want to call it. Those are the two things I'm always trying to connect with and just be more in tune with. So the way I work with peace is one of the biggest things I do on a consistent basis is meditation. Probably since 2015, I've been doing certain retreats and working with specific community groups by learning a thing called Raja Yoga. Now, Raja Yoga is also known as Royal Yoga. I know Deepak Chopra calls it Royal Yoga. It's essentially the yoga of meditation. That's what it's called. So, Raja Yoga, also known as Royal Yoga, is known as the yoga of meditation. So what it does, it breaks it down into 8 different limbs. And this is something that I practice. To go back on the peace side of things, it breaks it down into 8 different limbs, from yum on how you treat others, niyam on self-discipline, and it goes all the way down to samadhi. Samadhi is all about equanimous intellect, right? It's all about a balanced lifestyle, kind of what you guys talk about. Equanimity, I say that wrong all the time, but the state of mental and emotional stability, right? Calmness, having that with intellect by being able to think clearly, that's the end game when it comes to what I practice. So I try to tune in inward when I'm starting off my day and the way I'm ending my day. So I can have a clear start and a clear end to my day. So I'm always in control of my thoughts and my behavior, right? So that's how I bring peace into my life.
So you start your day with meditation, you end your day with meditation to
Yes.
ensure that okay. So throughout your day, it sounds like the peace, you start and end with peace, and throughout the day, you focus on your tasks at hand to make sure you progress against your goals.
Yes, 100%.
What does peace look like to you? I think the one thing that we really want to hone in here is that everyone's version of peace is different.
Mhm.
So we understand how you might achieve it, but what does it look and feel like to you? Because what we try to do is help people understand what their version of peace is.
Yeah, that's a great question. When it comes to peace, I like to feel in a calm state, relaxed, being able to see things clearly for what it is, right? Not getting my emotions, not being attached to my emotions, I would say. Being able to see things for what it really is and to be able to detach myself from different emotions throughout the day. So when I'm able to do that with a detachment, that's when I feel like I'm in peace. I'm in control. I'm balanced. I'm calm. That's how I would describe how I feel when I am in a peaceful state.
It's something that I've actually learned from you. I remember the first time I did meditation, that was actually with you at today's business. And I remember that the first time I sat down for 10 minutes, it was a concept I couldn't fathom. I couldn't imagine sitting in one place for 10 minutes not doing anything. And you helped me with that. You are the person who actually guided me through that, which helped me be more in control of my emotions. And you mentioned emotional control a lot over there as well. Are there times that you feel like you're getting out of control? And how do you deal with that?
All the time. All the time. And for instance, like if I see something, whether it be on social media or I my sister or somebody comes at me the wrong way, just attacks me, right? Or even if a client or somebody is just not happy with something, right? And they're in attack mode, it can bother me, right? Because I'm a people pleaser, which is not always the best thing, right? I like to make sure that everybody's happy before I am. And one of the things I have to do is I have to really check myself. I have to really come to the underlying issue of what is important. What are they really saying underneath the layer of madness, right? What is really the message they're trying to say? And that's something that I try to work on. I'm not the best at it, but it's a practice, right? I think meditation, yoga, anything is a practice to be better every single day. So the way I try to deal with it is by understanding what the real underlying message is outside of emotion, and then try to assess it in a calm, relaxed state the best I can the best I can every single day. It's not easy. I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, it's a journey, and you know that, right? It's day in, day out, trying to be present, trying to be emotionally regulating yourself. But then there's off days. Everyone's human. You miss some shots, and that's normal. And I think that it's part of kind of an everyday journey where you have to be paying attention to actually just regulating your emotions. So totally on that front.
Mhm.
How does managing your peace help you attain your goals or help you take steps towards achieving your goals?
When it comes to peace, I'm able to clearly see the end game, the outcome, right? This is something that I've learned from Tony Robbins. I've always been into the personal development space for years. I've always looked up to Tony Robbins and many other, personal development leaders in the space, spiritual leaders and whatnot. And when it comes to specifically Tony Robbins, that I've learned from is the first step into achieving any success is to knowing the outcome. Be very clear on the outcome. Step number one. Step number two is just to take massive action behind it. And the way to take massive action is you have to face your fear. We all have fears. This is what stops us from taking action. The only way to overcome fear is to face it head on. So for me to and the peaceful side and hitting my goals is to be very clear on what I'm looking to achieve, what I'm looking to accomplish, what that end game is. Be very clear about that. And then I can go in attack mode, right? There's no other distractions. It's not like I'm trying to do 20 different things at once. I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish, whether it be my fitness goals, my financial goals, my relationship goals. I'm very clear on what I want. And I've not always been like that. And it's something I'm still always fine tuning, right? Because wants and desires and all these different things, there's something I never really was attached to any of those things. But then as I started to get older and older, I started to realize what really is important to me and what's not. So that's kind of how I go about it.
I mean, Ant and I usually speak about, having clarity in your why, what drives you, what's your purpose, what motivates you, what keeps you going on those dark days, on those difficult days where you have to kind of drag yourself forward, right? And I think it's once you have a vision that kind of clears up in your mind, then motivation comes by itself. I want to ask you though, Raj, like, what advice would you give to someone who's struggling to motivate themselves and goes through those tough patches?
Think for someone that's struggling to motivate themselves, they really need to find something beyond themselves that they care about. Right? For me personally, it's not even about me. I think about my parents. For me, it's always been my dream to retire my parents. That's my why. To work every single day as hard as possible, to spread love, to help with different transformations, help with people's identities, but also give my parents the life that they've always wanted, the freedom that they've always wanted, right? So it's beyond me, right? It's not just about me, it's about my clients, it's about my parents. So for anyone that's struggling for motivation, they need to figure out their why that's beyond themselves, right? Because if we go about motivation doesn't get you anywhere. This is something I've learned through my business partner, Jay Cardiello. He talks about discipline. Motivation, I deal with family members all the time with motivation. People just do things when they feel like it. That's why nothing ever gets done, right? Everybody's in a mood. I didn't feel like it. No one's going to be successful if they just do things when they feel like doing it. You got to do things whether you feel like doing it or not. And that's discipline. And to be honest, Adil, that's something I've also learned from you. When we used to work in the digital marketing agency, you had your discipline, right? You were always on time. You had your standard with your work. You went to the gym, right? You took care of your family. Like there was a discipline. There was no days off, you know? So I would say you need to find something that's beyond you to motivate you.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a plan and a vision that you've crafted in your mind, and then you're kind of working towards that, you look at a challenge as just an opportunity to kind of overcome that speed bump, that road bump, whatever that case may be. So constantly moving forward. I'm glad that you said that we've definitely gone a long way in working out together and everything like that.
I just want to circle back on that. So, when did you realize your motivation came from something bigger than yourself? What made you realize that it's really helping my family that is the motivating factor, the pushing factor for me to get up every day, irrespective of how I feel?
Mm. To be honest, it's always been like that since day one, right? Because my parents, they've sacrificed so much for me. And now I know a lot of people can't say that about their parents, but they've given me everything I've ever could ask for. And I'm not a person that asks for things, right? I'm very humble with what I want. I don't even want things half the time, but they're the ones that would give me whatever I may would ask for, right? So, in despite of how they may feel, not in spite of how they may feel, but they obviously do it because they love me and they care about me, right? So the thing is that they gave me so much love, care, and compassion growing up and my whole life. They sacrificed so much of their time and energy so myself and my sisters can have a great life. And I saw that always since day one. I see my dad going to the store from 4 in the morning, coming home at 12. My mom, 12 p.m. My mom takes the next shift from 12 to 6. Then my dad comes from 6 to 8 to close. They've been working those type of hours for years. Even till this day, they do hours like that. And me and my sister try to help out as much as possible. They do enjoy what they do, right? It's not like they hate what they do. The reason why they still do what they do is because they enjoy it. So the reason why I had that motivation and that why is just because I've seen all the sacrifices my parents made since day one, right? They're the examples. They work hard, they sacrifice everything for myself. It's my duty to do the same for them, right? They've given me the best life I could ever ask for to help me follow my dreams, follow my heart. I want them to have the freedom to do whatever they want when they want, right? So that's how I came to my why.
I think a sense of duty is actually really important. When you feel that it's your duty, that you need to do it, it sort of gives you a motivation when you don't feel like it. I think Adil and I both actually resonate with that. We've spoken about it on many different episodes of our podcast. It's interesting to know that you have this mindset, or you had it from young. Is that because you saw sacrifices in front of your face, or is it because you think you had some sort of intuition? And the reason I'm asking this question is because, as a viewer or as a listener, somebody may be struggling to find their why, and maybe they can't see a sacrifice in their life that someone has made for them, or maybe they're just not privy to what's going on. So I just kind of want to dig a little bit deeper here and understand how you came to that. Was it because you saw them sacrificing with all them hours, irrespective of how much they liked it?
Yeah, I would say for people that are struggling to find their why, right? Like outside of my specific story, they need to envision what an ideal life for them will look like, right? What I try to tell people, what I try to be is a role model for other people. So even if you didn't have the best life, right? Your parents were terrible, they treated you like shit, and they just never took care of you. Every tragedy, every hardship is a blessing in disguise. We've all gone through them, whether it be heartbreaks, whether it be a death in the family, life's unfair, right? Everybody goes through these different phases and different belief systems. But once you realize that everything is happening for you, not to you, once you start having different shifts in your mindset that, you know what, there's a higher power, God, source, whatever it is, it's actually guiding you to become the best version of yourself, right? We all have gone through them. We love that underdog story. Everybody has gone through those hardships to be who they are. So if you're struggling to find your why, it's important to really hone in and work on visualization, work on what the best you looks like, right? You don't have to believe in God or anything like that, but tap into yourself, right? Self belief is so important. And we all can go through different stages in our life where we don't believe in ourselves. But once you work hard consistently with repetition on whatever your goal is, you're going to become a master at it, right? So nothing comes easy in life. You got to work hard for it. So there's a lot of inner work that needs to be done as well too. So my advice for anyone that's struggling to find their why is to tune in, work on yourself, self-discovery, figure out what the best you looks like, and just go for it. Listen, before we know it, we're not going to be here. That's something that also motivates me too. So much of our life we're searching for who we are, right? Identity and who we are. We're trying different things. That's what it's about. You're going to try different things and you're going to fail at different things, but you're going to keep moving and you're going to learn and grow about yourself. One of my goals or one of my values is growth. And I know it's one of yours both as well too, right? So it's important to understand what your values are and just continue to go after it. Because listen, like at the end of the day, what does all this even matter, right? It's if you don't take any risks. So my thing is just try to tap into who you are and just go after what you think is best for you.
You said something over there that really resonated with me around kind of going after it. There's a philosophy that I'm learning about right now around stoicism, which is the phrase memento mori, which is roughly translates to that remember that you will die. And it's not in a morbid sense, but rather in an inspiring sense that, hey, your life is slipping away every time you spend 4 hours watching Netflix or spend it on Instagram or on things which are not aligned with your goals or your values. So I've been kind of actively practicing meditation where I will think about death and, in a sense, not to be afraid of it, but to accept it and also accept that time is fleeting. I can take the time that I have remaining on this planet, because we all have a finite number. I could take that and then I could push forward, or I could just waste it on Instagram, YouTube, whatever the case may be. Because I'm definitely working through that. I know you focus a lot on having meditation as a part of your practice, yoga, meditation, breath work. You have a unique focus on a holistic approach to health and wellness. What does that look like for you? Why is that important to you?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. What that looks like to me, like when I talk about my morning routine, right? I think the routine is so important to give you guys an idea of what that looks like to me. This is something I never always had, and I never always was consistent with it. But once I started to work on this, I started to realize what a big impact it has in my life. So in the morning, when I wake up, I have an accountability partner. So me and my cousin every morning, we wake up at like 4:45 in the morning and then we start our meditation practice. So from 5 to 5:20, we do a meditation together. And then from 5:20 to, let's just say, 5:45, we do our sun salutation, like a nice little yoga flow. We do 6 cycles of that to really get the body moving. And then we go into breath work, pranayama. Pranayama is all about bringing life force energy into your body as well too. So right now I'm feeling good, relaxed, and recharged. And then I go into the day, walk my dog and go outside and just get some fresh air and then start my day. Right. So that's kind of how I go about my day and my routine. Why a holistic approach is important to me because it encompasses what I've learned is that diet and exercise is only one piece to the puzzle. This is something that I've learned from my business partner Jay as well too. And he had a TED talk about this, how diet and exercise makes you fat. Now, diet and exercise, of course, doesn't make you fat, but if you don't have that one ingredient of behavior, you're not going to really see long-term results. After understanding that concept, and we actually had a program called the No Diet Plan. It's not about what you eat all the time. Like understanding proper portion control and understanding what foods to eat and what foods to avoid is important. But we're not telling our clients you're going to be in a vegan diet, paleo diet, keto diet. It's none of that. So after working with him and learning about the importance of proper food, proper exercise, behavioral aspects, and my background of just working on my mindset, my mind with yoga and meditation, that's when I've realized I personally had the most success by encompassing all of those into my lifestyle. So that's important for us to share with our clientele. because it's not a one cookie cutter approach, right? The way we go about each one of our clients is different. The first step is taking intensive blood work for all of our clients, right? We partner with this company called Inside Tracker that was created by these guys from Harvard and MIT. They're all about aging, genetics, and biometric data, right? So anybody can utilize this company, but it's important to understand what's going on internally in your body and then working on a plan that's best for you, right? To optimize it. So that's why it's important to encompass a whole holistic approach, because it's not a one size fit all. You can start eating well, but if you're not active and you have terrible behaviors, you're not going to see the results that you really truly want, right? That's why a holistic approach is important for any success.
Now, you mentioned something over there, Raj, which could you clarify what you mean by behaviors? Could you give examples of that for the listeners?
Yeah. So one of the things we teach our clients is, for example, one of the things we teach them is taming your tongue, right? So being aware of how you talk to yourself, right? Because what you say is what you become. So we give our clients these different little tidbits every single week just to be more mindful on it. It's just more than fitness and diet, right? But if you pay attention to how you talk to yourself, how you talk to other people, it's all energy at the end of the day. So what we're trying to do is build these behaviors on a daily basis. We build it one step at a time, right? For instance, some of our older clients that are over 70 years old, they have trouble with their balance, right? So we tell them, practice brushing your teeth on one leg, because that's going to build your core, right? Nobody thinks about this, but it's actually effective, right? Because we brush our teeth every day, right? As we should, hopefully, right? And
Twice a day.
twice a day. Exactly. That's a great behavior you guys are on, right? You guys have built that since you guys were kids. So now it's just building upon those, right? And it's you guys do it twice a day automatic without even thinking about it. That's what we want to teach our clients to do on a consistent basis, because people come to us all the time where they're like, hey guys, we're working out every single day, but we don't see results. Or, I lost 30 pounds and then a year later I got it right back. It happens all the time. People get results and then they go back to what they were because they stop taking care of themselves, and they never had a behavioral aspect, right? There never was a behavioral component, or else they would have those results till this day. So any long-term results, you need to have a behavioral component to it. And that's one of the things that separates us from other trainers out there.
You mentioned something really interesting actually about internal dialogue, or as you said, I think it was tame your tongue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's actually a great phrase. But yeah, I think internal dialogue is so important because it's the relationship you have with yourself. It's how you treat yourself. And I think that's actually really sensible to say how you treat yourself is an indicator of how you will behave.
Mm.
I think it's actually really interesting that you honed in on that. Is there any inspiration behind that? How did you kind of get to that?
Yeah, I think that's something that we all, at least I've dealt with. I know my business partners dealt with. We have those internal voices all the time. One of the biggest things that I deal with, and I'm dealing with this currently too, is one of my things is not feeling enough, right? Not feeling good enough to be a personal trainer. Why would people listen to me? I only have 2 years of experience in this space. Not feeling enough in any of the previous aspects, right? Of the digital marketing too, when I first started off at that. So we all have an internal dialogue. Is whether you choose to believe that or not, right? So for myself and my business partner, we try to work on that. We try to tell ourselves certain affirmations that make us feel good, right? I am enough, right? I am confident, whatever. Like you don't need to go overboard with it, but just assuring yourself on these things can make a big difference, right? Because if you don't have people in your life that, like you guys, great friends, accountability, partners that can tell people good things about each other to help elevate them, not everybody has that, right? So it's important not to seek that, as long as you can really work on saying that to yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you're all you got, right? So
You raise an interesting point, and it's like I sort of realized this when I was younger.
Mhm.
I love football, or as Americans call it, soccer, but you will never catch me saying that, okay? So, football, I remember I was talking about this when I was much younger with one of my friends. Oh, about football, obviously, as coaches, right? And some of the best football coaches were terrible players, right? But why is that? It's because you don't have to be the best player to be the best coach. Now, you might sometimes have players that were great that then become great coaches. That's true. But there are many examples of players that became coaches that were actually not the best players. So that sort of really made me realize that you have to tell yourself that you're capable, even if you have to tell yourself that you're going to be a good teacher, or that you can be a good coach, or you can be a good at anything. Sometimes you might not even have walked the walk. You can coach someone on how to walk the walk if you can take inspiration from other people. And we've seen that with some of the most successful football coaches in the world. And that sort of realization when I was young made me think, I can do anything. I actually can do anything if I tell myself I can.
That's a great mindset that you have, right? Because people go through this all the time, imposter syndrome, right? I go through it myself. I'm sure you guys have probably dealt with it while starting a podcast, right? So one of the greatest things that I've learned from one of my mentors, he said this. He said, "Don't fake it till you make it, own it till you become it." And that always resonated with me, right? Because like whatever you choose to do, own it, embody that. That's something I've always been working on for the last 2 years, is working on my embodiment of whatever I want to become. Getting into that energy, that frequency, that vibration of that person, my best self. Right. So it's something that I hope it resonates with you guys and some of your listeners, but it's important that no matter what you want to do, like, listen, we've all started day one, all of us, your favorite athlete, your favorite coach, anybody, right? Your favorite teacher, all started at the same place. With consistency and repetition and self-belief, they've achieved what they have.
I think that's so important. I mean, we've all three of us have spoken about I know I've spoken with both of you individually and also collectively about the importance of self-belief, the importance of kind of being your own cheerleader, being your own motivator. Because there's going to be times where you feel like you're not enough. Imposter syndrome is a real thing, and I know that a lot of people today struggle with confidence about not feeling enough. It's a really interesting space though, because a part of not being enough is also what drives you to improve, which is personally what I felt in my life, is that, okay, I don't feel enough. All right, I'll go do better. Okay, I don't feel like I'm fit enough. Okay, I'll still go to the gym. It's actually motivated me a lot to improve myself. It may sound ridiculous, but maybe it resonates with you that not feeling like enough has been so critical to my success. So Raj, I want to ask you this. What's better? To feel like you're not enough or to feel like you're enough? Which one is better?
You have to go through the process of not feeling enough, right? If you felt like you're enough, I think you're missing the whole point of life, right? I think you're not taking any risks, right? So I think the most important thing is to feel not enough, because it shows that there's growth on the next step, right? There's something around the corner that's going to transform you that you never expected, right? So that's what I would say, because a lot of people have these fears. I know one thing that I'm always working on is my public speaking skills. I get nervous a lot when I talk in front of a crowd. It's something I always worked on, still work on till this day. I don't think the nerves are ever going to go anywhere. Whether I talk to you guys or I talk in front of a stage when I'm doing a TED talk, those nerves are always going to be there, and that's a good thing, because well, you know what that does? That reassures you because you're alive, right? That's what we're here for, to have feelings, to have emotions, right? And to overcome things, right? So if you're not feeling enough, you're not taking enough risks.
I love that. I give the example. I've said this before to people that I know, that Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player, the soccer player, he still gets nerves when he's taking a penalty, but he's learned to regulate his own emotion. He goes to the penalty spot, takes a deep breath every single time, and then goes for it and shoots. Always, pretty much always, he scores. And it's not because he's not nervous in those moments, but he's learned with repetition, being there time and time again, grabbing the ball every time there's a penalty, taking that opportunity, missing them several times, to the point that even if he still gets the nerves today, he knows how to regulate himself. He knows how to take a deep breath before an important moment like taking a pressure penalty. So I think that's also a really important element about just learning to kind of regulate yourselves in those pressure moments.
100%. I think that's a great thing that he's built upon. It's pretty amazing to see, right? Someone that's reached the high success, one of the top people in his sports, also feels nervous, right? Before a penalty kick. It's a normal feeling. So if any of your listeners are dealing with this or going through this, it's normal, right? And it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
You know, Ronaldo's one of my inspirations. I know that Ant also does, find a lot of inspiration from Cristiano Ronaldo. You mentioned some of your inspirations, like Tony Robbins was one of them. Who are the biggest influences in your life outside of family and friends?
Yeah, I would say Tony Robbins has definitely been a big influence in my life. Um, I would say another one has been the CEO of Mind Valley. Mind Valley. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Mind Valley. It's one of the things that's played a big part in my life when it comes to education, in the spiritual sense, in business, health, all the above. His name is Vishen Lakiani. Just seeing how he grew his company and how he's collected all these leaders that help transform the world. The Mind Valley is known as a school of transformation. And through some hard times in my life, going through some of these courses and learning from some of the top experts with spiritual leaders and other experts in different spaces, it really helped me get through some of the hard times. So I would say Vision is definitely one of my inspirations as well. Just because he's a leader, he's extremely successful, he's confident at what he does, he's all about giving. And he's creating an amazing platform where people around the world can work together and grow together. So I would probably say those are some of my top two inspirations that just come off the top of my head at the moment. But there's definitely plenty more.
I love it. Well, Raj, I know this has been an awesome conversation. We have been so happy and so inspired by your journey. We of course feel inspiration from the fact that you had your digital marketing, your typical corporate job, and you kind of left that and pursued your passion, and you're kind of living the dream in the sense of building brick by brick, step by step onto that journey. So we absolutely love that. Before we let you go, where can people find you on social media? Definitely drop your Instagram or whatever your handles are, so people can go and follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, before I say that, I want to say thank you to both of you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak on your platform, being the first of many guests that's going to be able to talk about their stories and help make a difference in everyone's lives, right? Everybody that's tuning in. So I just want to give you guys a shout out. The courage to start something like this and to grow it and to be as consistent as you guys are is very special. And I love your message about peace and progression. And I think more and more people need to hear that because a lot of people are actually seeking that. And the way people that can find me is mainly on Instagram at Raj, RAJ Trivedi, Trivedi. They can reach out to me on there. If they are interested in working with myself and celebrity trainer Jay Cardiello, just shoot me a DM with the word fitness. Actually, let's change that. Shoot me a DM with the word calm talks. All right. That's so I know you guys came from this specific source. And we'll work out a special deal for you guys. But thank you guys again for having me on here. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Raj. And as always, stay calm.
Yes.